Alright people, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. You read the title of this video. Get your tinfoil hats on. Because Battlefield 6 is going to space. This is a look, by the way. Bring back tinfoil hats. By the end of this year, we will be playing Battlefield 6 set in a space-age future. We're talking other planets. We're talking robotic uprising, alien races, fighting to defend the galaxy, fucking spaceships and shit. I'm talking laser guns, laser swords. There might even be some space wizards. This is unprecedented. Battlefield, DICE, EA, they've never done a game like this, okay? Never has it been done. Except for Battlefield that one time. Remember Battlefield 2142? That was a thing. It wasn't super futuristic, but it was sort of in the same vein. And because of that one game, we can't really rule out that Battlefield won't go to the future again. There's also some evidence in that Battlefield has always been sort of trailing behind Call of Duty in terms of revolutionizing their game. Call of Duty and Battlefield have sort of been neck and neck for a while. Call of Duty did this whole futuristic part. Battlefield never really did that. They never caught up. They never did the future thing. Instead, they made poor decisions and they went back to the past with Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, which just weren't as good as Battlefield 4. I'm pretty sure everyone that plays Battlefield would agree with that. Why wouldn't they try something fresh and new? I personally would like to see them go to a modern setting, which I think is much more likely, but we can't rule out the possibility a futuristic Battlefield is around the corner. I mean, the Battlefield official Twitter basically told us. They tweeted out, words that rhyme with soon. June, boom. Now that's just obviously a misdirect, okay? Know what rhymes with soon? That's an even better rhyme than June. Like a perfect rhyme. It's literally one letter off. Moon. The moon is in space. Mic drop. The gameplay you're seeing today is Battlefield 5, which I recently got back into when it was released as a PlayStation Plus monthly game. An ingenious move on EA's part with Battlefield 6 announcements around the corner. Battlefield 6 coming later this year, confirmed to be coming later this year, to release Battlefield 5, the most recent game in the franchise, as a free game for PlayStation players. They're generating a ton of new fans for the future of the franchise. Honestly, I cannot commend them enough on that epic play. I want to see Battlefield succeed this year. I've sort of been walking away from Call of Duty recently, specifically Warzone. Not that I want to see Battle Royale return in Battlefield, and we'll get to that in just a minute, but I really want to see Battlefield succeed. I forgot how much fun Battlefield was. Been playing it a couple days recently, and my god, this game has so much potential if they just do what the community wants. So in this video, I wanted to go through some of the things that I'd like to see in a modern Battlefield game, because I think it would be silly for them to do anything other than a modern Battlefield game. Like I said, Bad Company, Battlefield 4. Go back to that era of Battlefield and we will be golden. Modern combat means a larger, more assorted weapon selection. There are a ton of weapons in use today that were not even around in Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, World War I and 2 settings. There's only a limited amount of weapons that they can use in those games, and an even more limited amount of attachments. I want to see us go back to the Battlefield 4 days where you have dozens and dozens of weapons to choose from with dozens of attachments on each of them. Almost do a gunsmith Warzone situation with how many attachments you could put on guns to make them more realistic in a modern setting. I think that would be very, very cool. I think we could lose the weapon specification. So if you didn't know, in Battlefield 5, I don't know if it was in Battlefield 1 as well, you can specialize weapons because there weren't as many attachments. The specializations would just like reduce your recoil or reduce your hip fire spread. They were just like perks that you put on your weapons. We can get rid of those and just replace all of that with actual weapon attachments that modify your weapon. If there's one thing that's incredibly frustrating to deal with in Battlefield 1 and 5, it's vehicles. Vehicles have such an advantage in older style Battlefield games because there isn't anything an infantry person can do against vehicles like that. from a distance anyways. Infantry can run up and throw dynamite on tanks, which again isn't super effective. It takes like 3 or 4 dynamite to destroy a tank. At least if we go to a modern setting, there are a lot more options weapon wise for disabling vehicles, so I think that will alleviate some of the pressure of going up against vehicles, and it will make vehicles a little less OP because they've been absolutely ridiculous lately. And I think in a modern game that just sort of solves itself. So as long as the vehicles aren't like too strong, I know Battlefield, it's all about the vehicles, but the infantry gameplay is really fun as well, and I think there needs to be a good counter option to the vehicles if you don't want to play in vehicles the entire time you're in a conquest game. I expect gorgeous, diverse environments and maps to be expected with dynamic weather and a day and night cycle. We normally have dynamic weather in Battlefield games, or at least dynamic weather events where a storm will come in or a blizzard will come in, things like that. I think if we just had natural dynamic weather where sometimes on the map it's sunny, sometimes on the map it's raining, and sometimes on the map there's a blizzard or a sandstorm or crazy things like that. I would love to see dynamic weather where it always constantly changes. Battlefield is way ahead of the curve on weather in their multiplayer games, whereas like Call of Duty, they don't even do weather in their games. They just do whatever the map is set as, that's what they do. If it's daytime, it stays daytime every single time you play it. It stays sunny every single time you play it. Whereas Battlefield is sort of dipping their toe into dynamic weather, but they could really take that to the next level, especially if this game is going on the next gen consoles. Day-night cycle is a similar situation. I just love to see that sometimes the map is daytime, sometimes it's sunset, sometimes it's nighttime, and you have to on the fly adjust your class so that you have night vision goggles and thermal scopes so that you can see things in the dark, and the lighting changes. I'd love to see that sort of dynamic lighting and weather combo would be really cool. Same thing with destructibility. I want full ass destructibility to come back. There is destructibility in the most recent Battlefield games, but there's only so much you can do with destructibility when you're just fighting in an open field in World War I or II. At least if it's a modern combat, you can do more urban warfare with giant sky rises that you sort of destroy, like in that one map in Battlefield 4, except if we're going into next gen console territory, I think we can take that to the next level and make it so that everything is destructible. I want everything to hit the ground before the end of a match. I want crazy, world-altering, amazing events like a nuke dropped on the city that just kills everyone, destroys all the buildings, everyone respawns, and it's like a whole new map. Like, things like that is what I'm expecting from the destructibility of the future of Battlefield. We've kind of been working our way up to it. There was only so much that previous consoles could handle, but I think with PS5, Xbox Series X, we can go the full 9 yards with absolute destructibility, and I think that would be super cool. The last two things that I have on my list that I'd really love to see are sort of more basic requests, but they would be huge for the world of Battlefield. The first one being larger player counts. Right now, we've got 32 v32 and a 64 player conquest. I think we can boost those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Let's boost those numbers up. 64 v 64 seems easy. We've got all these battle royale games now that support 150 players, like Warzone's 150 players on a server. Battlefield can handle 64 v 64. In fact, I think Battlefield can bump those numbers all the way up to 100 versus 100 players on a massive map. We'd have to have a huge conquest map that goes out to like objective point M, A to M. But you know what? I think that would be absolutely fantastic. 100 v 100 would just be insane. They'd have to really get the support behind the game, but I think if they released a modern Battlefield game, they would have enough player count that they could support those servers on 100 v 100, and I think that would be badass. The last thing that I'd love to see in this Battlefield game, and this is going to be the most controversial one of this entire video, and I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section, I don't want to see a single player. I don't want to see a battle royale. No more Firestorm. That shit was terrible. Firestorm in Battlefield 5 was actually awful. It literally never got played by anyone. Battlefield needs to stop chasing the trends, leave battle royale to the other guys, and do what they do best, which is massive multiplayer battles. Battlefield has always been famous for this. No one else in the industry can pull off what Battlefield does when Battlefield does it right. They need to stop trying to be everyone else and wait for everyone else to catch on and start trying to be them. Leave Battle Royale out of it. Leave single player out of it. Single player, the war stories in Battlefield 5 were kind of bad. They were basic and boring and basically glorified tutorials for how to play multiplayer. Just cut all that stuff out of the game. People know what Battlefield is. Give us a massive, fully fleshed out multiplayer game where multiplayer is the focus. It is multiplayer only with a shit ton of maps, a shit ton of modes, and a shit ton of guns, and we will be happy as a community. Nobody really cares about the single player, and even if we did play the single player, we played it for like 2 or 3 hours. That's all the war stories took in Battlefield 5, and then never played them again. Because we're playing Battlefield for the multiplayer. We never played Battle Royale because it was bad. Battlefield just doesn't know how to do those sort of things. They need to stop trying to experiment and focus on what they know, and they will do perfectly well with Battlefield 6. So that is my list of the things I'd love to see in a modern Battlefield 6 or futuristic Battlefield 6. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think we're going to see next month, or next week, I guess, in June when we get the announcement for Battlefield 6, and what are you hoping for? Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, follow me on Twitch, Tide347 over there, and check out the new merch, Tide347.store. I will catch you guys on the next video.